First case I have this morning is Crystal Mitchie. Ms. Mitchie, good morning.
Good morning.
Ms. Mitchie, were you in the courtroom this morning when the video containing your constitutional trial rights was played?
Yes.
Did you understand the rights in that video?
Yes.
Did you understand the maximum penalties associated with misdemeanor crimes?
Yes.
Did you have sufficient time to speak with your lawyer this morning, Mr. Edgerton?
Yes.
Thank you. We have two cases with you, Ms. Mitchie. We're going to be on record first in the older case, which is 24 CR 08230. And in this
All right. In solidarity with the ladies, I made my hair especially bad for the occasion. We've got 3 clips today. Not a good do in the group.
In this case, you were charged with the crime of trespassing. You were issued a citation for that, and that was at the area of 200 East 4th Street, issued on 6/22 of this year. Do you understand that charge?
Yes.
Before I get to that charge, let's go to the other new case you have, and then we'll see what we're doing with these two matters. The next case we have is 24 CR 100333, and in this case, you were also cited for trespassing. This alleged to have occurred on August 3rd of this year in the area of 435 Evans Avenue. Do you understand that charge?
Yes.
Allegedly, you failed to appear for community court to answer to that charge. That failure to appear alleged to have occurred on August 7th. Do you wish to admit or deny failing to appear on August 7th at community court?
Deny.
Deny you showed up to community court?
Were
you in court?
No.
Did you show up to community court or did you not show up to community court?
I don't think I did.
All right, community court's at the library and you were told to go there by way of the citation. That's what I'm looking at right now. Do you wish to admit or deny failing to appear at community court on August 7th?
Admit.
I'll accept your admission and I will find you in contempt. Counsel, would you like me to canvass on this case? How would you like me to proceed?
The judge was so smooth. He's like, I don't think you understood my question. Where did you show up to court? Do you remember showing up to court? No? Okay. Do you want to admit not showing up to court?
Please, Judge, if you would canvass on the case ending in 1033, I'll make a motion to dismiss the 230 if she wishes to enter a plea to that former case.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mitchie, how do you wish to plead to trespassing? This one alleged to have occurred on August 3rd of this year.
Guilty.
And do you understand that by pleading guilty, you'll be waiving those constitutional trial rights you heard on that video?
To her credit, she did the right thing. She looks, out of her mind. Her hair's all over the place, but she said she understood everything. She got a little confused on one question. She picked up that the prosecutor was dropping a charge, and she took the deal. All of those were the right moves, which shocked me.
Oh, can I plead no contest?
Either way, yes. Do you understand? And I'll accept either plea. Do you understand that means that you'll be waiving those rights on that video? In other words, there will be no trial in the matter and we'll proceed directly to sentencing?
Yes.
I'll accept your plea of guilty. And I will grant the city's motion and dismiss 24 CR 08230. That was that other trespassing that happened back in June at the bus station. All right, let's go forward to sentencing. Ms. Giannoli?
Judge, the city will submit this matter.
Thank you. Mr. Edgerton?
Your Honor, Ms. Mitchie has been in custody since the 8th of August. I think credit for time served is appropriate.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mitchie, anything you wish to say before I sentence you? You're not required to say anything, but you're welcome to.
I'm just working on taking care of myself by getting more education on my public assistance and learning where the directions are and the boundaries are with my family.
All right. Your family local?
Yes.
Are you housed when you're not in jail?
Yes.
You have a place to live?
Yes.
Oh, good. Are you already connected with Medicaid and SNAP benefits, those sorts of things?
Yes.
Order then. I'm going to issue an order of credit for time served, but I'm ordering you to stay away from 435 Evans Avenue. Do not go back there. I'm also ordering you to stay away from the Reno bus station unless they allow you to return. That's up to them, okay?
Okay.
All right, good luck to you. Case is closed.
All right, this is a citation. It was issued on July 11th of this year on Allegan Street.
Okay, this is Alyssa's fault. I haven't seen it. There's suspicion of a Karen top right. That's all I know.
There, City of Otsego. It's a speeding citation on an actual 45 and a 30. However, it was only written as a 1 to 5 over. So, Ms. Keeler, you are here on this 1 to 5 over speeding citation to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility to the citation, or 2, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation as to how or why that happened. Or 3, you wish to contest this citation. In other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
I'm looking to contest.
All right. Then the first thing I'm going to do is swear you both in. You want to go ahead and raise your right hands. You swear or affirm any testimony you give here today would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Sir.
All right. So, Ms. Keeler, it makes a lot more sense for me to start with the deputy.
I'm challenging it
Okay, and in what way?
in a good way.
You'll have an opportunity to either ask questions or testify in your own behalf. All right.
Yes, sir.
So, deputy, you want to pick up the narrative somewhere where it makes sense to explain the issuing of this citation?
Yes, sir. So I was eastbound on M89 coming into Otsego City on the date in question when it turns into West Allegan Street. The vehicle in question, which was a blue Chevy Malibu, was westbound from North Street, and she was visibly fast because the distance from her and the vehicle in front of her was quickly closing. Therefore, I activated my front-facing radar, which is calibrated at the beginning and end of each of my shifts. And on my front-facing radar, she was at 45 in the posted 30 zone. When I asked her about it, she advised she was going with the flow of traffic. However, due to her quickly approaching the vehicle she was following, she was not going with the flow of traffic.
Okay. Ma'am, what is it you'd like to tell me?
Is it my turn?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I think that the first point is that it was not a 30-mile-an-hour zone. It was a 35-mile-an-hour zone. And by the time that he had pulled me over, he even said the 35-mile-an-hour zone starts right here. And that's
which is number one, wrong.
I did and took pictures of the site. The 35-mile-an-hour zone actually starts before he even clocked me. So it was not even a 30-mile-an-hour zone. And there's actually 2 35-mile-an-hour signs. So it was after the second one that I was actually pulled over. So I wasn't even in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. I was in a 35. And he didn't know even what the speed limits were in that area. On the other side of the road, it is 45 mile an hour, which is why I was a little bit confused, because coming in, it was a little bit faster than where it is going out. And we were within.
Now, I'm going to stop you there. Ma'am, are you saying on this stretch of road that speed limits are different depending on whether we are traveling on the right or left of the road? All
Yes.
right. It is not occur anywhere in the United States of America that I'm familiar with. So let me go back to the deputy and we'll sort of clarify that. So deputy,
I think the judge is skeptical of this claim. I haven't seen this. This is fun.
the testimony is that she thinks that she may have been in a 35 as opposed to a 30. Can you please articulate why you have this as in a 30?
So where I clocked her at, it took me a minute to turn around and stop her, but where I clocked her at, she was in a 30-mile-per-hour zone.
Okay.
Which is
And by
on
the
the
time
other
you pulled
side.
her over, she may have been in a 35.
Yes, sir. We're
Are
in
you
North
aware of
Street.
any-
It's a 30.
Are you aware of any different speed limit for vehicles traveling in the other lanes?
No.
Yeah, Ms. Keeler, I find that to be, just sort of not really the case. They would never have a speed limit in one direction being different than the speed limit in the other. But to clarify, essentially what he's saying is he's agreeing with you, but
Oh, Judge, it's disingenuous, bordering on spurious.
at the time you were pulled over, you may have been in a 35, but what he's talking about is where his radar hit you.
So I'm going to disagree with you again on that, because he turned around on North Street and my pictures indicate the speed limit is 35 right at North Street when you're driving. So where he turned around.
But ma'am,
was
whether it
30.
was 30 or 35, the speed limit that he's testifying to, 45, would be a 1 to 5 over in either one of those two zones. But I allow you to continue.
I'm saying that I do not
But do tell.
believe I was going 45. I even looked down because I was with my son taking him fishing. And I looked down and I said, I'm only doing 39 and this is a 35. So he's not after me. We'll pull over and let him pass.
Okay. But ma'am, what you just admitted to is exactly the ticket that you have. He did not write you a ticket for going 45. He wrote you a ticket for going 1 to 5 over the speed limit. So
in a 30 zone.
30,
And I
that
was
would
not
be,
in a 30 zone. I was in a 35.
okay, but ma'am, you just said you're going 39 and a 35. That's 4 miles over. You have a ticket for going somewhere between 1 to 5 over. So even by your own admission, I would have to find you responsible on this ticket as it's written. The ticket, what you're accused of doing is 1 to 5 over speed limit.
I'm going to tell you this. I'm a nurse. I just gotten off of a 4th of July shift, 3 12s in a row. And as you know, holidays are very stressful in a hospital. I'm not going to lie.
Tell us, Karen. You just worked 36 hours in a row? Probably shouldn't have been driving.
And this is the type of situation that is exactly why nurses have compassion fatigue, because we give so much compassion for all of our shifts, and then we get picked on for a little tiny thing like this. And of all of the people in Allegan County, this is what
It's the nursing passion defense. This is fun. Thanks, Alyssa.
this is who you choose to go after.
Well, ma'am, essentially what you're saying is that somehow because of your occupation, you shouldn't be in trouble for speeding, but somebody else might be?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is why.
I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm saying I have compassion fatigue. I am frustrated with being nitpicked all the time. And of all of the people in Allegan County,
I'm a nurse, so I don't need to obey the law, Judge. And I find it very offensive that this police officer thinks I do.
Single mom who's just trying to take her son fishing, this is who you're going to pick on?
All right.
How did she ever become single?
Well, ma'am, let me just reiterate what my job here is. My job is to look at what is in front of me. What I have is you accused of going 1 to 5 miles over a speed limit. And you are contesting that, saying that's not what happened. But even by your own admission, that's what happened. I would have no other choice but to find you responsible. My only options are responsible and not responsible.
I'm contesting that I was in a 35 and he clocked me in a 30, and I was not. I was in a 35. He said the 35 started
that would
way
be
further
irrelevant
down.
either way, right? It would actually just be worse if you were in a 30 going 39.
I'm saying that the deputy did not know the speed zones where he was clocking me.
Well, ma'am, I mean, I have his testimony. I have your testimony. Your testimony is that the other lane is 45. I mean, that's just really.
I have no problem proving that. I have no problem with that. I have pictures.
Well, and here's what I need to explain to you. So I have found you responsible on this citation, but because you had a contested hearing, you do have a right to say, I don't agree with what just happened there. I want to go to what's called formal hearing in front of the district court judges with the prosecutor's office involved. But for you to continue to fight this and go to that formal hearing, you must do 2 things. One is you must ask for that within 7 days of today's date. Your window of opportunity to fight this further stops after that 7 days. And secondly, you must come in and post a cash bond in the same amount as the fine to guarantee your appearance. Do you understand your rights on appeal?
Yes.
All right. Then we're all set for what we need to do here today for what's called informal hearing. I'm going to go ahead and release parties. Deputy, I think you have another one here, so I'm just going to pop you back over. Waiting.
You're out on Case Road, or you can have somebody from the sheriff's office serve her. But if you do, they'll charge you for service. Okay?
Oh, watch out. This is also Alyssa's fault. This is the Australian breakdancing of court appearances right here.
So you understand that?
I do.
Okay, so if you wait out in the lobby, somebody will get you the copy of the service packet, and it'll take a little bit for them to come find you, but they'll be out there.
Okay.
Okay, you're welcome. And good afternoon. Your name is?
Ms. Anderson.
It's Ms. Anderson?
Yeah.
And what's your first name?
Carolina, but I go by Roxanne.
You go by Roxanne?
Yeah.
And Carmelita, you say, is your given first name?
Well, who am I giving your first name? Yeah.
Okay. And what's your birthday? We just have you listed as Jane Doe, so we don't have any personal information on you.
Oh, well, I had, do I have any charges?
Well, I bet you do. That's why you're here. So
No,
let's see
I
if
don't, brother. I mean, I just got out of jail
That's how you end up at an arraignment, you know?
in Thurston County, so I know I don't have any charges.
Well, you have a Lacey charge on obstructing a police officer.
And I'm not guilty of that, honestly.
Okay.
I tried to they asked me to leave a place that I was at, and I was getting ready.
Report attorney who gets assigned, bottom right there, is just horrified this entire appearance. He wants it to end so bad.
To leave anyways, but they were rushing me and they were asking me a bunch of questions. I gave them my name, Roxanne, that I use, and they took my fingerprints, and then they wouldn't allow me to take my stuff and go. Like, they just detained me and took me here for no reason. And I've been treated really poorly, and I've been very upset. And anyways, I don't want to discuss much of that. Rather, I would just be helpful to talk to my attorney. That way he could talk to you about setting some stuff for whatever, for me to be released would be the greatest.
Judge, if we could set some stuff or whatever, you know.
Okay. All right. So do you have a place you live? Do you have an address?
I've been staying at a homeless shelter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one? Union Gospel Mission or?
No, it's like, I don't know what it's called. I've only been there one time, really. Was where I stayed since I got out of jail, because it's been like 2 or 3 days since I got out of jail the last time.
Okay. And do you have a cell phone number?
I don't. I have to work on getting one. I was thinking about getting one, but my mom has a cell phone number, and I was going to ask her to take me to go get a cell phone.
Okay. So you said your last name is Anderson and you go by Roxanne.
Yeah.
Okay. And Ms. Anderson, what is your birth date?
Can I talk to my attorney first?
No, you can tell me what your birthday is.
That's July 31st, 1989. That's not my birthday. I don't consider myself as required to use birthday. Like so.
Okay, we just use that to help identify people. So
I know, but that isn't my belief. That isn't how I believe in choosing to identify myself. Mm-hmm.
Fine. Yeah, you don't have to identify yourself that way. I just need to know what your birth date is so I don't mix you up with a different Roxanne Anderson.
No, I don't even go by Roxanne Anderson. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to be...
So looks like I have a request for fingerprints, and I've heard from who I believe, at least she's told me, is Ms. Anderson, that she's already been fingerprinted. Ms. Sharp, do you have any information to the contrary?
My understanding was that on scene they were unable, the report says, I don't want to paraphrase and misstate, if I could just have a second to pull it up. They were not able to identify her on scene via fingerprints, and whether that means there were fingerprints taken that were retained for analysis is unclear. I know that the Nisqually jail does have facilities to administer fingerprinting and submit those to State Patrol for identification purposes. So that's the city's request. I was in touch with corrections officers this morning to ask if they'd already done that, and that's a routine procedure under these circumstances. They said they hadn't because Ms. Anderson has not been cooperating with that process, and so that's why the city's asking for this order to compel.
Okay. And Mr. Swenson, do you have anything you want to add here?
I guess no, Your Honor. It might be helpful for me to speak with Ms. Anderson privately for a minute.
Yeah, that'd be very helpful.
I think I have a conflict, and you need to send this one to Darren Patterson, Judge.
Please.
Okay. All right. We'll put you in a breakout room. And you'll have to have corrections officer come in and activate the breakout room for you.
Excuse me, officer, can you activate the breakout room for me? Somebody?
I'll either be in my office or Elizabeth can go. Yeah.
It's now in recess.
I will take this over. So.
Sounds good.
Okay, Mike. I don't even want to get out of here. Go down. Oh my God.
Hey, shut the fuck up.
Sorry, you know,
Is this the right one? There's nobody there.
Yes, you're in the right spot. Just waiting for the judge.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, I think we're ready to proceed with Ms. Anderson.
You might have missed her. She just walked across. I think she's going to get the judge.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Is the judge dealing with the one next door?
No, that would be a different judge.
Oh, okay. All right.
He wants to crawl in a hole.
And put a protection on it. Yeah, whatever. What do you want to change? Fuck this shit. Please, please. Sorry. How do you go about 24 hours? I'm sorry.
Yeah. He just went on a quick break.
Yeah, he was giving us time to speak.
District Court is back.
Here he is.
We haven't had that much singing since Rosebud.
All right. And do we have a name and birth date?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't think the fingerprint order is going to be necessary. I provided that to Madam Clerk in the chat as well as Mr. Sharp by email.
Okay.
She'd be listed under, and it's not the name she goes by, but it's listed under Carlina Francis Anderson, date of birth 7/31/89, which is the information she attempted to provide earlier.
Okay. And will you, do we have a JABS?
I do have it online.
Can you send it to me so I can refresh and take a look?
Can I just change it?
Yeah.
Can you just change it?
Sure.
Okay.
And for the record, Your Honor, I did review the nature of the charge and Ms. Anderson's constitutional rights, which I believe she understands. I'm asking to enter a plea of not guilty, and she is seeking court-appointed counsel. I'd ask the court to directly appoint my office to represent Ms. Anderson. I believe she'd qualify.
Okay. I'll just point out, Ms. Anderson, it becomes a little problematic when you don't allow us to identify you. We're having to redo all these forms and take all this time just because you didn't give us.
I had never intended for you not to identify me. Rather, I'd rather you have me identify me by a name that I feel suitable to, as part with me, rather than a name that doesn't seem as it's participating with me, rather others.
Mm-hmm.
That's more why I prefer to be called Roxanne. Like, Roxanne's the name that I go by. I don't prefer that name to be used by all because I don't entrust in all. Now, I certainly do, but only on my own terms and theirs, but.
I also don't want to be associated with all the crimes on my record.
I don't want to get into all that. Yeah, that isn't what's going on right now. My well-being is more important, so.
Okay. I understand it's not the name you wish to be called, but I'm showing Carlina Francis Anderson, and you have been known by that name. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so I'm not seeing anything added by way of the criminal history screen, and Ms. Anderson was referring to a county charge, and there's nothing else.
Maybe able to help. Your Honor, I was able to find an entry that seems to correlate pretty well with a county case July 31st that's not yet been charged. I could give a couple case numbers as reference if that would help the court find the right record.
Is there anything else on the?
I've already been released on those charges, and I don't appreciate that. That's rude.
Okay, no, yeah. Ms. Anderson, hold on. I'm just trying to make sure we have the correct information. So right now, this.
First, she confirms it by saying she's been released on it. Then she says, I don't appreciate you mentioning it. It's kind of his job.
The Lacey case is the only charge I'm seeing on the criminal history. Is that consistent with counsel's information?
No.
Yeah, I was released on those charges. You don't know. I didn't talk to you.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, the city is not yet prepared to assert that identity for her. Again, we're asking for that fingerprinting order just to confirm identity. If the identity is the one that she's providing, there appears to be an entry in JABS database with some substantial history and 4 active warrants in different jurisdictions. Now, laying a criminal charge against a person is pretty serious, especially when there's that type of background associated with the identity. So we'd like to be sure before we do that. So we are asking for the fingerprinting to verify the identity. We could set this on as soon as tomorrow to review conditions if needed.
Ms. Anderson, just so you know, you're muted, so we can't hear you at the moment.
Understandably, Your Honor, that is upsetting to Ms. Anderson. She's been in custody on this over the weekend. I do believe, all the information that she's provided today to the court and to myself seems to add up. So I understand this.
Yeah, except I don't have what I understand to be an accurate criminal history. I just have this charge under the name Carlina Francis Anderson. So I need to get that clarified before I can make any decision.
You should be able to refresh and it should all show up there.
Okay, try again here. Okay. Okay, now I have a much more complete criminal history. It shows 26 cases with warrants out of Clark County, out of Centralia, out of Lewis County, out of Centralia, and some other warrant history. Okay. Ms. Anderson, you're unmuted, or you're muted right now. Mr. Swenson's going to do all your speaking for you today. So, do we have any, I mean, how much do we really need to do the fingerprints, Mr. Sharp? Are you concerned that Carlina Francis Anderson with 4 active warrants is not this person?
It seems likely, Your Honor, but we have, over the last few years, had a few cases of false identities asserted in court under a John Doe or Jane Doe circumstance like this. And as serious as that can be for the defendant, the city doesn't think it'd be responsible to move forward on her mere assertion today without verifying that. And not to cast any aspersion on her for that, but frankly, it's to protect the person with the name she asserted, just in case. City undertakes pretty thorough identity verification before we book and charge when we can.
Okay. Just so you know, the form that was submitted for the judge's signature had a date of April of 2022.
I apologize, Your Honor. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Normally I'd be releasing in this charge with 4 active warrants. I won't do that. And I have signed the order for fingerprints, and I will appoint counsel to represent Ms. Anderson. And based on the 4 active warrants, I'll hold Ms. Anderson on $500 cash or bond. And this will be Pacific Point Defense again. And once again, I'm guessing there's going to be the argument of inability to pay based on what I'm seeing here. So I'll do the same thing I did before. I'll set it out 2 weeks. If there's a quicker resolution, we can get it on at that time. And I have ordered the fingerprints to confirm identification.
Ms. Anderson, I'll reach out to you later.
Thank you, Ms. See you no later than the 26th. And I'll put that straight to the 1:30 calendar. Okay, thank you.
But don't worry, she gets to talk again.
Can I talk to my attorney, please?
I'm going to call you later after court on the phone.
You're gonna call me later?
Yeah,
Can you bail me out?
I cannot do that, but I'll call you about your options.
Please, because listen, I've already been to jail and they released me over these charges because they're in another state. And so they don't extradite, and so I don't need to be held on them.
I understand.
You can look that up. I was just in Thurston County.
So we need to move on in the calendar, Ms. Anderson.
Can you ask the judge to do that, and will you review the case here momentarily? Please, today, please, because I don't belong in jail. I'm being held against my will, and it really hurts me, okay?
All right, thank you, Ms. Anderson.
Can you do that for me, please?
No, I'm not going to release you. You're going to be fingerprinted today. We'll confirm your address. You have a court date in 2 weeks. Mr. Swenson can get it on sooner if there's some other action to take.
Why aren't you listening to what I'm saying?
I heard everything you said. Okay, thank you. And Ms. Sharp, you want to let the city know we're ready to proceed on another case?
Well, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Swenson, you'll need to speak once again to Mr. Humble in a breakout room. Is that right?
Yeah, if he's brought down, Your Honor, I do need to.
Can you review my case just shortly, please?
Yeah, we already
Please.
have. Just mute her.
Oh my gosh, it is a double rainbow. I cannot believe it. It's a freaking double rainbow.
Well, there you have it. There you have it. We had compassionate nurse Karen, an in-court sing-along, and bad hair across the board, including me. Thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it. I will see you soon.